So here's the thing. Over the last 5 to 10 years, the word manifestation has been completely bastardized. There's a lot of people who think that you sit in a dark room and you wish for something hard enough until it drops in your lap. And the truth is that that is not what manifestation is at all. And manifestation actually is a lot more logical than you would think. Yes, we can get into the energetics of it with science and all of that stuff. Maybe we'll do that today, maybe that's for another day. But what I want you to understand is two things. First of all, manifestation and what it is in its most logical sense. And then the second thing is how to use this information to create a life beyond your wildest dreams. Because the truth is, this can be used at every single level. I help people scale from 6 figures to 7 figures, or 7 figures to 8 figures, even 9 figures all of the time. And it's always just internal shifts and internal locks. You know, when you learn to rewire your mind to identify the opportunities and the path to where you want to go, that's when everything changes. And when it comes to the work of mindset, manifestation, and human potential, which is what I coach, that's the basis, that is the root of where the work is done, in your subconscious patterns, ways of perceiving the world and thinking. And when you shift that to being the version of you who can see and hold the kind of vision of that 7, 8, 9 figure enterprise, then that is when you can actually move forward with bringing it out into the world. So we're gonna go into this today and help you actually create a life beyond your wildest dreams, understanding this work. And so to get into the first thing, I want you to understand manifestation's definition of what it is. It's just taking a thought and bringing it into the physical form. That's all it is. It's making the unseen seen. And so to the skeptics or the people who don't believe in this, at its most basic level, I just want you to understand anything that is man-made started as an idea. Absolutely everything. Someone had an idea to create a whiteboard where you can draw on it and you can erase it and it doesn't stay, right? That started as an idea. Now, someone actually, through action and through accepting that idea, they attracted other ideas. They accepted it was possible. And so then they started the process of attracting other ideas to move forward with, to see it through to its physical form, the fulfillment of that idea. So it's not some crazy elusive thing. It's a very simple thing. And everything started as an idea. Someone had an idea to create whiteboards. Someone had an idea to create this specific company or brand of whiteboards. Same with this marker, same with this chair. And this is the process of manifestation. So going back to what I was saying before, what would stop someone from actually seeing through an idea into physical form? The only thing would be some internal blockage, something holding them back from accepting that it's possible. Because as soon as you accept that it's possible and commit to actually fulfilling that, you will understand and learn and gain the knowledge along the way to be able to fulfill that and bring it into the physical world. So there are some people who say, oh, I don't know how. You will never know the full journey how to get somewhere before you do it. Any business owner or entrepreneur will resonate with this when I say it, because when you first start a business, you really don't know the depth of what you're getting into. You don't know the challenges that are around the corner. You don't know a lot of the information you're going to have to learn and expand into through that. So when it comes to the how, you are not going to know how you're going to fulfill that incredible idea right from the beginning. It all starts with accepting that idea as a direction and committing to that direction until its fulfillment. So the problem is not that you don't know how. The problem is that you haven't accepted that idea to allow it to actually work through you into physical form, and for you to actually condition your mind to identify the people who can help you, identify the problems that you have to solve, and all of that, because your mind starts doing that the moment you accept an idea. And this is why learning how to accept an idea and move it into the physical world is one of the most impactful skills that you can learn. Because when you understand the inner workings of what happens through this process of accepting ideas, becoming the kind of person who can fulfill that idea and moving it into the world, nothing can stop you. That is when you really, truly can create a life beyond your wildest dreams, because you're just accepting ideas, knowing that the answer to everything is within removing the internal blocks between you and anything that you want. anything. So let's start very logical. To start today, I actually want to start with a bit of an image of the mind, would be the best way to put it. So I believe this was created by Dr. Thurman, this kind of stick man that you see here. Dr. Thurman in the 40s, it's a really great representation or image of the mind, because when most people think of the mind, they think of the brain. But the truth is that the mind is so much more than the brain. Even to get into the science for a second here, you actually have neurons and neural connections in your heart center. The heart is not just a pump, despite what we were taught when we were younger. There is actually information that's sent from the heart into the mind. When you are in a coherent state, there's actually more information being sent from the heart to the brain rather than the brain to the heart. So you have to understand that the mind is connected to so many different parts of your being, and there's different forms of information that come from different parts of the mind. Rather than getting too much into the science here, I just want to make it as simple as possible. And in my opinion, this diagram, representation, or image of the mind is one of the best that I've seen to date to explain this to a different level. So I want to start with this. Is the top half of this circle, the top half of the head, as you can see here, is actually going to be the conscious mind. The bottom half of this head, the circle here, is going to represent the subconscious mind, the subconscious mind. Now here, obviously we have the body. What you have to understand is there is a livingness that actually runs through us at all times. And even if you just think of it in the most logical frame, again, think about how your mind never turns off. When you're sleeping, you're dreaming. When you're resting, your mind is still going. So there is this infinite livingness, this universal power, if you want to think of it like that, that is always flowing through us at all times and all moments. And this universal power actually takes shape in the form of an idea. So it's actually formed and takes shape through ideas in the conscious mind. So just think of it, moment to moment to moment, you're getting ideas. You're thinking of things, it's thought. So the conscious mind is the intellectual mind. It is the thinking mind. It is the educated mind, if you want to think of it like that. Another way to look at it is the reasoning mind. The subconscious mind, which we're going to get into in a second here, is the feeling or emotional mind. Very important for you to remember. It is also the universal mind. That is probably a topic for another day. That topic goes incredibly deep. So you have the thinking and intellectual, you have the emotional and feeling. And then you have a universal power that is flowing in and through you at all times perpetually. Now, here's the thing. In the subconscious mind, you have something called paradigm. The easiest way to think of the paradigm is as your programming, if you want to think of it like that. So throughout your life, actually it started from when you were even in the womb, you were conditioned to think and feel in certain ways. So think of, when your mother was carrying you, there are emotions that are happening, chemical reactions in the body that are associated with a thought or narrative. So your mother felt emotional chemical reaction certain ways about a narrative. So about love, let's say, about how to approach some certain thing, about money, about certain amounts of money. And so throughout your entire life, through all of your upbringing too, you're continuously conditioned over and over again. The first 7 to 8 years of your life, you're basically just absorbing everything in your environment. This is why so many patterns and blockages and beliefs actually remain from when you are young, your formative years, all the way up through to when you're 40 years old even, and you're facing a challenge in business. And it's usually something that actually came from such a tender, young, ripe age where you're absorbing your environment. Because this is what happens. You absorb these emotionalized ideas about money, about what's possible, about what's realistic, about what's a lot of money or a little amount of money, about you and who you believe yourself to be, about how the world works, about your self-worth, all of these things. And that's what creates your paradigm. Your habits, your beliefs, your sense of self all live in the paradigm. And this is subconscious, meaning a lot of your beliefs actually live below your level of awareness. So you don't even realize the very ideas you've accepted that are creating the boundaries of your reality. I want you to think about that for a second. You probably are not even aware of most of the emotionalized ideas you have accepted emotionally that have therefore created this fixed actual filter through which you experience reality. This is incredibly mind-blowing to people who have never faced this. It should be. If you're really sitting with this information, with this understanding, you should be realizing how much you can open up your world right now. So let's just keep going here though. Your paradigm, everything that's in the subconscious mind, all of that programming, anything that is fully taking up that portion of the subconscious mind is expressed through the body, through your behaviors and actions. And then those results actually come from your interaction with the world, with the universe. The response back from your behaviors, your attitude, come from the universe, the results. Now, here's the thing. If this is how everything works, you have to understand that your paradigm is holding you back from being able to actually properly accept and fulfill the ideas that you want to experience. Because let's say you have this idea, let's say that this idea that came into your mind, everyone I'm sure at some point has had multi-million-dollar ideas, if not billion-dollar ideas. But let's just start with this. Let's say you have a $1 million idea. We'll use that as an example. Because of your paradigm, because it's an emotionally accepted narrative, you don't feel worthy of making $1 million. You don't feel like the kind of person who can produce that kind of result. You don't feel capable or knowledgeable enough in some area in your life or in that area that would produce that $1 million. If that's the case, this idea isn't going to harmonize and make its way into the subconscious mind, which is when it would actually be expressed. What will happen is this idea will get rejected consciously. And this happens all the time. A lot of times you're not even realizing it. So an idea comes in, some $1 million idea, maybe it's in a different industry that you're in right now. Maybe it has this incredible energy, it's more aligned. You know, you see this whole vision for this future that could be better than the current business or industry that you're in right now. But some sort of mental block in your subconscious mind, some emotionalized narrative holds you back from actually taking action, making the decision to accept that that can be your truth and moving forward into the fruition of that. Even if you accept that it could be your truth, maybe there are things that are holding you back or creating friction from really allowing all of your being to go in on that. Maybe you have a narrative that there's a massive amount of struggle or sacrifice required to produce another business. Or maybe you have a narrative that it will take away from your family or your loved ones. Here's the thing, it does not have to. Those are simply just narratives. Those are just emotionalized thoughts that are therefore rejecting the very thing that you would actually really want. What we have to do, the key to actually accepting a new idea and having it work through us, is we have to shift the paradigm to be in alignment with the life that we actually want. And when you do this, your mind will find a way to produce that life. That's what it's always doing. Your mind is an efficient machine that is always finding proof and identifying the way to producing whatever it is that it's accepted in the physical reality. So if you've accepted a life of limitation, your mind will hold you to a life of limitation. There's something called the reticular activating system in the subconscious mind. It's a part of your mind that is showing you proof of what it's accepted, of what it's been fed. So if you have a paradigm or programming rooted in scarcity, it will show you all the reasons why you should be in that state. It will show you all of the reasons why you might lose your money or your business might burn down tomorrow, or why you can't get out of that stressful state. Because it's showing you the reasons, because that's what you've emotionally accepted to this point. So think of if you learn how to, first of all, make the unconscious conscious so you know where to do the work. You actually start to become aware that you're living from scarcity, or you're committed to comfort over your goals, maybe. As soon as you become aware of that, you're then given the ability to actually do the inner work to rewire that belief on an emotional level. Get to the root of the very limitation that is holding your life together and actually shift it. So if you, let's say, become aware of that and you do this inner work, there's an entire process to reconditioning the mind. I take people through that all the time. And you can have 10x results in 7 months. I've seen just incredible things from this reconditioning of the mind. That being said, it is a process. And so it's too much to get into today. Maybe one day I'll make a whole video on our reconditioning process we take people through. You know, maybe we'll get even into the first steps of how to do that. But for now, what I want you to understand is if you start to recondition who you believe yourself to be and the emotionalized ideas you've accepted to be in alignment with what you want, with this $1 million idea. Meaning, let's say, you're living from scarcity. If you shift into abundance, what will your reticular activating system, your mind, be filtering and identifying and making happen automatically? It'll all be optimizing around abundance. So it will identify the opportunities, the money, the people who can help you to make that happen. It will optimize and identify everything required for the fulfillment of what you've allowed yourself or conditioned yourself to emotionally accept. I'm hoping this is making sense here. So the process to starting this, let's say, I will give you the first steps of the process. There's more to recondition the mind and get it into the subconscious mind effectively, but let's start with the process. So let's say you have a $10 million idea, right? It comes into the conscious mind, takes form, that universal energy takes form in the shape of an idea. $10 million idea, and you start to get excited. You can feel the vibration of that idea. You can feel what that would do for your life, or whatever it is. You start to really experience it. There is a vibration to these ideas. And just as fast as that idea came in, the paradigm comes in, and everything connected to what you've emotionalized in the past comes in and starts to say, hey, you're not that person. I don't know if you're capable of doing this. This will take away from your family or your loved ones. What if we lose everything that we've built so far? So some sort of fear. The paradigm is usually guarding you through some form of fear. That's where the edge of your paradigm is guarded by. As soon as you can acknowledge that this idea is something that you would actually want, rather than listening to the paradigm, I want you to accept that you want that, to actually allow yourself to want something different. Without conditions. The law of transmutation, everything transmutes from one form of energy to another. That idea turns to a want. Now, here's what's interesting. Wants are cheap, honestly. You have to understand that. The amount of people who want $1 million lifestyles, and they want the Porsche, and they want the, beautiful properties all around the world, the amount of people who actually do the inner work to produce that is different than the want. A want means nothing. So a want alone means nothing. So it starts with a want. You get the idea, you transmute it to a want. This is you identifying and actually accepting, you know what, I do want this. I'm going to allow myself to want this and sit with it. If you sit with that and you actually want to move into actually bringing that into the physical world, because this is all you have to ask yourself with anything you want in your life. The first question to ask yourself is, do you want it? What do I actually want? If I could have any kind of life, creating a life beyond your wildest dreams, if I could have any kind of life, what would I want? That's what it all starts with here. If an idea comes in, you realize you want it, you accept that you want it, the next thing that you do is you transmute that want and you turn it into a goal. Now, a goal, that actually, when you get to that side of it, that is where you're actually committing to seeing that through. That is where you are actually saying, I will become the kind of person who can fulfill this. And I'll tell you right now, that's all you're gonna have to focus on. Most people are so concerned as to how they're gonna grow their business. All you have to really focus on is who you have to become to be able to produce a business at that level. As I said, the rest of the how, it comes along the way. When you actually set a goal, I mean, you can see here, it's still in the conscious mind. It's still a conscious act, but you are actually committing to having your mind optimize around producing that in the physical reality. That's one of the first key steps here. And what you have to understand is when you're first setting a goal, if it's a big enough goal that it's emotionally charged, like it should scare you. It should be a goal where you have no clue when you're first setting it how it's actually going to happen. You don't even know if you're capable of producing that. And that's where that next step of first you commit, then you do that conditioning work to actually shift your paradigm into believing that you are that person, that you are the kind of person who fulfills that. And when you start to actually shift to believing that you are the kind of person that can produce that, that is your reality. Your mind will do everything it can to identify the opportunities to prove that to you, to identify the people to make that happen. Because the mind is just this efficient machine that is always optimizing the rules it's been given to produce that and make sure it holds true. Your identity, your self-image lives in the paradigm. What you've emotionally accepted as to who you are is one of the most powerful forces in the world. It will do everything it can to keep you in alignment with that. So if you can shift this first, and you can actually do the conditioning work to that you are a $10 million business owner, your mind will do everything in its power, which is infinite, that beautiful infinite power of your mind, to make sure that you are in alignment with that belief that you have actually emotionally accepted. And this is why everything comes down to the emotional mind and the reconditioning of the mind. And any blocks that the paradigm has accepted from the past, you're gonna have to become aware of them and shift them into harmony with what you truly want. So when it comes to this $10 million, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that I work with where they produce their first level of results through force, through hustle, and they think that they're gonna have to hustle to get that next 10x in their life. It's not the truth. The only reason you produce that first amount of success through hustle is because you believe that struggling and pushing and working your ass off and just grinding is the only way to produce results. But here's the thing. What if included in this $10 million idea that we're working on making a goal and emotionally accepting and getting into the subconscious mind, what if it's $10 million with peace of mind, with incredible relationships, with true harmony and relaxation? What if we can emotionally accept that all of these things can live together? And your mind actually emotionally accepting that starts to optimize, make sure everything in the physical reality happens. Because here's the thing, if you can take all of this, the peace of mind, $10 million business, incredible relationships, and you can emotionally accept that that is your truth, that you are the kind of person who produced that. The mind will then, through your behaviors, your attitude, your action, automatically do everything to get that into place. It's just like a world-class athlete, if you were to think of it, who's emotionally accepted that they're a world-class athlete. You would have to try hard to not get them to go to the gym and train. Going and doing the physical expression of the self-image is automatic. You are all times automatically expressing what's there. And so if you can change that self-image, you can change those beliefs, those narratives. If you can start to believe that you can have a $10 million business and an incredible relationship and be present with your kids, and you can have harmony, and it can all be done through relaxation and a peace of mind. If you actually condition your mind to that, that is how you will produce the reality that reflects that. And I hope through this diagram, through this explanation, you have seen really how logical it is. It's not some crazy woo-woo thing. All it's doing is reconditioning the mind to actually produce what you want to produce rather than produce what you don't want to produce. Because people will tell me, they'll come to me all the time and they'll say, Adam, I want to learn how to manifest. You're already doing it, moment to moment. You're already doing it. Why? Because at all times, you're producing what's in your subconscious mind. You are taking your ideas and moving them into physical form. You're holding the structure through that. And so our job when it comes to this is to shift what you're holding in your subconscious mind so that you manifest what you desire rather than what you don't want. That's what most people are doing. They're so worried, they're so focused on what they don't want. They're actually tuning their mind to identify scarcity rather than identify opportunity, abundance. And if your mind is tuned and actually optimizing for identifying that you can have extreme riches, the best relationship ever, all of these things, the mind will find a way to produce that. You can use this in many ways, but the subconscious mind is far more powerful than you think. If you give an idea over to the subconscious mind and just say, hey, work on this idea, I want an answer to this. I want to know how to go forward with this. And then you go on a walk and you go about your day truly believing and being in a state of receiving and accepting that it'll come, you will get the answer to that. Nikola Tesla used to do this. With his big, complex problems, he wasn't going to books to get his answer because what he wanted to tap into was beyond what's been created so far. So he would ask a very deep question. He would give a question over, if you want to think of it, to the higher power or to the infinite intelligence. intelligence, or even to just your own innate incredible intelligence that expands far more than you would ever know, you give that question over, and then you go on a walk knowing that he'd received the answer. And when he was not so focused on the intellect and trying to think through the problem, but giving it over and knowing that he'd receive it, he would receive it. And this is part of manifestation as well. What people have to understand is you're always going to attract a similar or like energy to what you're thinking about. So if you have $10 million ideas and you're actually accepting them and you're getting emotionally involved with them, and you're starting to think about what within this $10 million organization, what it would look like, how to serve on that level, all of these things, what happens? You attract further ideas associated with that main idea. This is what I mean even by your mind optimizing around what you've emotionally accepted. If you accept the $10 million idea, it will start to give you other ideas that will take you through to that fulfillment. And this, learning how to emotionally accept other ideas, learning how to change your sense of self and your beliefs and all of those emotionalized narratives to be in alignment, to be an incredible funnel of that universal energy to work through you and give you more ideas and identify more things that make that $10 million and how you want it to feel happen. This is how you produce a life beyond your wildest dreams. Now, in the future, I'll probably do a video that's more rooted in the science. When I say science, I even mean the science of frequency and vibration, the science of, even neuroscience and how that all happens, neuroplasticity, and how your mind actually can completely change its physical structure from how you're thinking, the new conditioning that you're doing. Right? There's a whole lot there, and I'm sure I'll do a video on that to get into all of that later. But for now, I just want you to understand on the most basic level that all manifestation is allowing yourself to accept an idea emotionally as to how you want it to look and feel, and making sure all the narratives in your mind are in alignment with that vision that you have. And if you learn how to get that in the subconscious mind and recondition those narratives in an effective way, you can have anything you want in this life, anything. I hope this has been good for you and you've gained some value from this. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to see more of these videos. We are committed to bringing this work out into the world. And if you would want to have a conversation or learn more about our coaching programs or the deeper stuff we go into, we have events, a lot of great stuff. Shoot us a message on Instagram at Adam of Venus. We're also very active there, a ton of great content there, and I will see you in the next one.